All right, class, today's lesson is on basements and why they leak. Joining me is Charlie. He is with EverDry Waterproofing. Charlie, you got a nice diagram here. Explain it.
What we have here, Gary, is a foundation, floor, footer, and wall. They dig a big hole in the ground. This is how they build them. We refer to this as a clay bowl, and just like any bowl, if you set it out in a rainstorm, it's going to fill up.
Sure.
So with improper drainage, that's what will happen here. But they pour the footer with wet cement, let it dry. They pour the wall wet cement, let it dry. And then they'll pour the floor, same way, let it dry. And what they've done here, in essence, is they've created a natural defect, a seam right in every home where that wet concrete dried up against there.
And over time, we get some expansion, contraction, movement. That seam gets a little larger. And if you don't have good drainage, you got a wet basement.
Yes.
That's what EverDry specializes in, is taking care of the water and getting that basement nice and dry. Let's talk about the way that water enters a basement.
Okay, Gary. First thing happens, we deal with the sky water, rainwater, melting snow, sleet, these type of things. Secondly, we have a false water table in the ground. And third, of course, we have the simple humidity right in the air.
Exactly. So we'll talk about the rain, the snow, and it accumulates.
What
along
happens,
the
it
wall.
starts going into the ground here. The water table will start to rise, and when these two waters meet, you have 100% ground saturation. And this creates a pressure, what we call hydrostatic pressure. Have you ever taken a beach ball, Gary, and tried to push it down in a swimming pool?
Funny you should ask. We happen to have a tub of water, and we have Bill's beach ball. Now, Bill worked very hard to get this, and let's just do a little demonstration. We'll put it down into the water. You can feel the pressure. Now stand back.
There
How
you
about
go.
that?
There
That's
you go.
water pressure.
Water pressure. Well, that's what we deal with on homes when this ground gets saturated, and it starts putting pressure on the wall, just like an elephant leaning on your wall, all around your foundation. And what happens here, it starts developing cracks.
Correct.
Some of these cracks can come all the way through. The water pressure pushing, of course, gets into these cracks, erodes the ones just starting outside. Then some of the water can come all the way through and out onto your floor.
Sure.
So that's the first way water enters your foundation.
Okay, the second way is near the footer itself.
What we deal with here, this water table rises up and down several times a year. Have you ever been to a beach?
Yes, I have.
There you go, and those waves wash up over your feet, and then they wash back out. What tends to happen?
All the sand goes out with the water.
Kind of washes out from under your feet.
Sure.
Well, same effect. This water table up and down several times a year can start erosion actually under the footing, the materials.
Because
they
there's
use.
gravel underneath
Sure,
there,
there'll be
correct?
gravel, whatever type materials they're using, and this can wash out, allowing the footer to move just a fraction,
Okay.
a fraction.
And that's
of an
going to
inch.
open that seam up even more, then,
Well,
right?
actually could develop a crack in your footer.
Okay.
The water starts pushing up through there, going through the natural seams, of course, and can get right out on your floor.
Of course, when we have a lot of rain, too, our water table rises, correct?
Absolutely.
And that's where the third one enters? Is
There you go, Gary. You got it. That pressure starts pushing on the floor, starts developing cracking in the floor. Some can come all the way through.
Okay.
A lot of times the water can push right up through those, come right out onto your floor.
And of course, the last one is the humidity, and we all know that all basements are a little humid.
Even waterproofing basements, customers were still asking us, says, well, it's still kind of damp feeling in the basement because it's underground. So we listened to our customers. Our research and development department invented what we call the Easy Breathe. It takes care of all the mold, toxins, pet danders, smoke, anything. It's a whole house ventilation system.
So that's how EverDry takes care of
Takes the
humidity.
right out of the home.
How does EverDry take care of number one there, the water down on the side of
Well,
the house?
with our multi-step patented system, we'll actually open an inspection trench on the outside, find all the cracking, dig those down to their entirety till they end, seal them up, then we'll install an exterior drainage system to carry away the
Moving
surface
that water away.
Yes,
It's
sir.
about water control. And how do you solve the issue with the footer in the floor? In other words, this is the water table that's moving up. How do you take care of that?
We'll install our pressure relief system on the inside. This creates a 3-foot safe zone underneath your floor, actually keeping the floor and the footer dry. So the water table doesn't reach that.
And how's it do that? With the drainage tile on the inside
Yes,
of the
sir.
basement?
Yes, sir.
Now, Charlie, that's a neat thing about EverDry is you take care of all these facets, correct?
Yes, sir, Gary. Our multi-step system gives you a permanent cure for the lifetime of that home. Our warranty is also transferable, and it gives homeowners a dry, healthy living environment in their basement.
Very good. Thank you, Charlie, and thank you for attending our lesson. I hope you learned a little bit about basements and leaks. And of course, if you have that problem, you can always call Charlie at EverDry Waterproofing. Well, joining me today is Charlie Bagley. He's with EverDry Waterproofing. Charlie, the basement, it has some issues here. Tell me what's going on.
Gary, this basement, the walls are actually cracking, caused from the extreme pressure on the walls there. Moisture's getting in, coming up through the floor.
Yeah, there is cracks in the floor too, right there.
Moisture's pushing right up through there. Those moisture conditions are causing the dry rot. Joists are starting to dry rot up there.
Then that's just from the moisture that's collected in the basements causing the wood?
Yes, sir.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Now I also noticed the walls are actually bowed.
They're starting to bow now. The pressure, the footers, there could be some undermining going on, allowing the walls to push in from the hydrostatic pressure.
Now this is all because of excessive water pressure around the foundation?
Yes, sir. Caused primarily would be improper drainage. You know, the drainage has collapsed or gone now.
Wow, that is amazing. Now is this repairable?
Of course, we've got a patented multi-step system which would take care of the bowing walls, would take care of the water pressure, and even clean up the air. We would start on the outside by opening an inspection trench, looking for all the cracking. We would dig down, make all the repairs.
So we're starting outside, we're making repairs on the foundation, and are we putting drainage around the foundation?
Yes, sir. We'll repair the cracks, bring that back up to the inspection trench level, install pipe gravel, seal the wall with a black mastic, convey this water away from the home.
All right, so that takes care of the outside. How about the inside? I guess if the floor is cracked, that means there's water pressure coming up too, correct?
We'll open the floor down in the basement. What we're looking for, of course, is we're going to inspect the footers, check for any undermining. At that point, we'll get everything repacked and get the foundation stabilized again. We'll install pipe and drainage tile, running it to a pressure relief system, which will convey the water to the outside of the home.
Okay, so we're going to catch the water as it comes up to the underside of the floor. Then.
Correct, before it touches the floor.
Okay, and we're putting that to a sump well?
Yes, sir.
And
Pressure
we're
relief
moving
system.
all that away.
Yes, sir.
All right, I like that. Now, what are we going to do about these bowed walls? Because that's kind of frightening.
Gary, we've got a great product today, space-age product, carbon fiber technology. We call it Stable Wall. We have a patented system. They're using this to repair dams, bridges. They use it in NASCAR today.
Really?
You know,
Pretty heavy-duty stuff.
There you go. 10 times the tensile strength of steel, but a lot lighter. They're even building an airplane out of that today.
Right.
So
now, this isn't going to pull the wall back, but it's going to stabilize.
it'll keep
right?
that wall from moving any farther. We warrant that wall, guarantee that wall not to move, that crack not to reopen.
Okay. Now, I did notice the basement kind of musty smelling. I'm sure that's because of all the water. After the repair, do we need to address the musty odor?
We've got a great product, Gary. It's called the Easy Breathe unit. This is a whole house ventilation system that will exchange air in your home 8 to 10 times a day. All the cool, damp air in the basement creates the odors and smells. This will pull the cool, damp air out and replace it with the air you have upstairs, giving you the same relative humidity in the basement as you have upstairs, creating a healthy living environment.
Do warrant it?
We warrant this home. It's probably the most unique warranty in the industry. Covers the old damage that we find while we're there, any new damage that might happen in the future. It's transferable. The pumping systems are warranted.
Super.
Transferable to new homeowners. Best warranty in the industry, in our opinion.
Very good. Well, if you're selling a home, that's another issue too. So I brought along a realtor. We're going to find out from her whether that needs to be repaired or not. Well, joining me now is Amy Barquette. She is with Coldwell Banker. And Amy, you saw the basement. It's got some issues. The walls are bowed, moisture in the basement. If I were to sell this home, and the owner is going to try and sell this home, does that basement need to be repaired before it's on market?
Gary, I suggest that a seller would fix an item like this. It's only going to help the value of the home in today's market. There are so many listings out there. There's a lot to choose from, and it's a maintenance issue that would need to be addressed.
Sure, I guess if I'm a buyer and I walk in a basement like this and the wall's bowed and the wood's dry rot and there's water, moisture kind of always gives a home kind of a stuffy smell.
It is an odor that can definitely be noticed coming down into a basement. And the first thing that the buyer will say, you know, what's going on down here?
Big time turnoff.
It is a turnoff. They will look at that, and because of the way the market is, it's something that needs to be fixed. And am I going to fix it? Is the buyer going to say, am I going to fix it, or is the seller? And it's an issue. They may just well move on.
Now, when it's fixed, it's important that that warranty is transferred to the future buyer because that's what they're looking for, right?
Right. For the seller to get the value out of the home and get that item fixed, and it has a lifetime warranty, then the buyer's going to look at that and say, well, it's taken care of, and it's going to give them comfort, and it's not going to be an issue to the buyer.
And that's what it is all about, being comfortable when you're, laying out that amount of cash for a home. So get it fixed. That's the advice from the professional. All right, if you're trying to find additional living space in your basement, or you need to sell your home and your basement's got some issues, remember EverDry Waterproofing, and they do have a transferable lifetime warranty. I'm always being asked questions about leaky basements, so I got my list of frequently asked questions. We're at EverDry Waterproofing. Joining me is Jim and Charlie, and they're going to be the experts. They're going to answer my questions. Jim's first. Why do basements leak?
Well, Gary, inherently they're built to leak. You know, the way they're constructed is not necessarily the problem, but the materials they're made out of. Concrete's porous, it cracks, and it leaks.
A lot of people say, I don't see my basement leaking. I don't see a puddle of water, but I can smell it.
A lot of times the water we don't see is what probably concerns us the most. If you're experiencing dry rots on woods, rust on metals, molds, mildews, dampness, musty odors type things, stains and discolorations are a big one when you really don't see the water. You know, this tells you there are some issues that need to be addressed.
Now, I know EverDry Waterproofing does an entire system. How do you address that musty smell?
Basically, the musty smells, we'll go ahead, we have a whole house ventilation system. You know, of course, we install our drainage system, but then we'll go ahead and install an air exchange unit in a home. Actually exchanges the air 8 to 10 times a day, getting rid of all the toxins and mold spores,
Sure.
pollens, pet dander, anything of that nature.
Improves the health of the home?
Absolutely, Gary. Gives you a nice, healthy living environment in that basement. Finish it off, put that family room down there for the children.
Jim, we were out here not long ago and we did a demonstration of a beach ball and about how water pressure throws that beach ball out of the water.
Right.
I guess when we find cracks or a concrete wall, that pressure is pushing on the wall, causing it to crack, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Now, when you find a crack on the inside, are there more cracks on the outside, and how do you address that?
If you find one crack on the outside, generally there's 3 or 4 more according to the experts out there. And we put our outside system in. We will start with the inspection trench, and anytime we find a crack on the outside, we dig it down by hand and repair that crack.
How much, I'm going to say damage, can happen to the lawn and the landscaping when you're out there waterproofing, or you take extra care?
Gary, we do all our digging by hand, so very minimal, very little damage is done out there. You know, we generally don't even have to take shrubbery out as long as they're a little bit away from the home. You know, we'll take and tie them up, and people tell us all the time, you know, they can't hardly believe we did that amount of work and get the yard looking as good as we did, you know, because again, we're not using that heavy machinery or anything of that nature.
Jim, I know you do all 4 walls inside and out. The reason for that?
The reason for that is we warranty the entire foundation. In other words, the home is warranted for the life of it, the foundation below grade, for the life of the home transferable to the next purchaser of the property.
So it can go to the next purchaser. That's
Oh,
very
absolutely.
good. How about the walls that are bowed? How do you correct those, Charlie?
We've got a product today we call Stable Wall. It's carbon fiber technology. This product is guaranteed to stabilize the crack from any future movement. They're using carbon fiber today. NASCAR uses it. They're building an airplane, Boeing 787, I believe.
I know at EverDry you're very proud of your complete system. You do the piping on the outside, you pull the water away, you dig out the perimeter on the inside, you move the water that's coming up to a sump well, you pump it away from the home. And then we've talked about the Easy Breathe, we've talked about the Stable Wall, all part of your patented system, and now you've added something called Smart Power.
Gary, this thing's incredible. This is a backup system that will last up to 5 to 7 days if the power were to ever go out. Works off electric or battery, so if the primary pump's getting overwhelmed,
It'll keep pumping even in a
absolutely
power
one of
failure.
the best features we got.
So if your basement is leaking or smells like it's leaking, make sure you call EverDry Waterproofing. Thanks, guys.